Yeah. Okay, good morning students. Okay, first of all, welcome to your first online geography class. And today, like I said, we'll be doing the third chapter, that is overpopulation and underpopulation. Okay, now most of you must be thinking, why is ma'am doing the same chapter again? Now we were almost completed, we had almost completed the chapter in class, but why I am doing it again is because I want to do a short revision. Alright, I want to do a short revision before I start on with the next chapter, because if you check the chapters properly, almost all the chapters are connected, links to each other. So without understanding this chapter properly, you will not be able to understand the next chapter. Alright, okay, now you already have almost all the notes. I have already sent you twice. I had also sent you a video on this chapter. Now, the chapter that we are going to begin today is overpopulation and underpopulation. Now, what do you mean by overpopulation? The meaning or the definition of the term overpopulation means, the term overpopulation means that a region has too many people and not enough resources to maintain a reasonable standard of living. Now, what does this mean? It means that the number of people living in a certain area is more than what the resources can handle. Alright? For example, whenever I teach geography in class, I'm always giving an example relating to your day-to-day life so that you understand properly. So the best example I can give now is, imagine there are 30 students in your class. Alright, the number of students in the class is 30, but there are only 15 tables and chairs. So here the population in the class is more than the resources available. So there are only 15 chairs and tables, but there are 30 students. So the resources that is available in the class is not enough for the population of the class in simple terms. Now, what is the causes of overpopulation in a society or in a country? So the first causes of overpopulation is birth rate and death rate. Now, if you look to your book, which is in page number 27, the first point, it says birth rate and death rate. Now, what is birth rate? Birth rate is the number of live or alive individuals born per 1,000 population. Alright? And what do you mean by death rate? Death rate is the number of deaths taking place per 1,000 population. Alright? Okay. Now, why birth rate and death rate is a cause of overpopulation is because now we've come to the modern society. We've already reached the modern era. And in this modern era, the technologies that is used, the facilities, the medical facilities that is used to give birth or to assist in giving birth is highly advanced. So what is happening is the number of child born alive is increasing, or what you can say in other words is the number of deaths taking place is reducing. So what happens is, on one hand, the birth is increasing, birth rate is increasing, and the death rate is decreasing. So when there is an opposite relationship between birth rate, which is increasing, and the death rate, which is decreasing, there is overpopulation. Alright, I hope you've understood this. Now, the second point is poverty. What do you mean by poverty? Poverty is when an individual is unable to sustain himself or herself or provide the basic necessities for oneself, it is known as poverty. All right. So when a person is poor, or when families are poor, or when individuals are poor in the society, how does population increase? Okay. Now, economically, poor nations do not have the capacity to support their growing population. So when you do not get proper support from the government, because there is large number of people or families which fall under the poverty group or below the poverty line. Now these families have to support themselves on their own. Now what they do to support themselves financially is the family give birth to more number of children. Now why do they give birth to more number of children? Is because these children, when they grow up and when they come of age, they go around looking for jobs. Now when I say jobs, I am not only talking about government jobs. They may also earn money by begging. So when there is more number of children in the family and they are earning through begging or doing menial jobs, small jobs, they bring more number of or more amounts of money to the family. So that is why, because of poverty, overpopulation is caused. Now the third and the last cause is illiteracy and lack of family planning. Now what do you mean by illiteracy? We had already discussed in class. Illiteracy is when an individual does not know how to read and write, and the level of understanding or IQ level is also very less. So if a person does not understand the negative effects of overpopulation, they will not be able to affect or they will not be able to control. Now how they will not be able to control the population is because now parents from the below poverty level will not be planning properly in how many children they will be giving birth. All right. So what happens is, without thinking, and also to supplement, like in the second point we learned about, if they are poor, they try to give birth to more number of children so that these children will help them in earning later on and will supplement in the family income. So in the third one, these people are illiterate, all right, because they are poor, so they do not have money to go to school. Now when they are poor, they will not understand that giving birth to more number of children will cause overpopulation in the society. So we've done 3 causes of overpopulation, that is birth rate and death rate. Second one is poverty, and the third one is illiteracy and lack of family planning. Now impact of overpopulation, that is in page 28. What do you mean by impact? It is the effect that overpopulation has on the society. Now, the first effect overpopulation has on society is the depletion of natural resources. Now when we say depletion is, we are talking about the natural resources being overused. The natural resources are being overused. Now how is it being overused? Is because the amount of resources that is available in the society or in the environment is enough only to cater to the need of a certain number of people. All right. But what we do is, we as human beings, we tend to start using it in such a way that we do not keep those resources for the future generation. All right. So what happens is, as a result, now look into your books, page 28, as a result of overpopulation, there is great pressure on resources such as food and water. The insufficient supply results in malnutrition and lower resistance to diseases. Growing population and limited food resources leads to an increase in imports, which could lead to national debts. National debts. Now what is happening? The poor people are unable to sustain themselves. The government is trying extremely hard to look after those people, but the resources available in the in the hands of the government is also not enough to look after these people. But the government has no choice. They have to look after those people, those poor people. So what do? Is they start buying resources from other countries. Now, we are not earning much, but we are only buying. Alright, there has to be a balance in earning and buying. But earning is less and buying is more. Alright, so when buying is more, it leads to an increase in imports. That means we are buying from other countries, we are importing from other countries, which leads to national debts. Alright, now second one is environmental hazards. Now, what are the harms that is being caused to the environment because of overpopulation? Now, growth in population puts increasing demand for land, which leads to deforestation. What is deforestation? Deforestation is the act of when human beings cut down trees, alright, cutting down trees and making it a plain land, cutting out trees, cutting out forests, moving away forests and making space available. Now, why are we making space available? We are making space available for the growing population to live in. Alright, so deforestation is caused. Now, when deforestation is caused, trees are cut down. When trees are cut down, animals do not get food, birds do not get nests. Alright, birds are unable to make their nests there. And what happened is, now normally a certain tree takes roughly around 10 years to grow. But we are not giving enough time for the trees to grow. And what we are doing is, the amount, the rate, the pace, the speed in which we are cutting down trees is more than the speed or the rate in which trees are growing. So here also there is an imbalance. The trees are being cut down and more number of trees are being cut down for making space for the population to live. But on the other hand, we are not giving enough time for the other trees to grow. We are planting it, but we are not looking after them, and sometimes we are not even planting trees. Alright, so there is depletion of natural resources, and always remember, whenever there is deforestation, what do plants give us? What do trees give us? What do green plants give us? They give us oxygen to breathe, and which is very, very important for human beings and animals to survive. But what are we doing here? We are cutting down trees. Another thing what the trees or the green leaves do or plants do is they take in carbon dioxide, which helps in reducing the pollution level in the atmosphere. But here what we are doing? We are cutting down trees, and then on the other hand, the level of pollution will also increase. Now, the third one is unemployment and poverty. You already know what is the meaning of poverty. What do you mean by unemployment? When an individual does not have a proper job to sustain oneself, sustain him or her or their family for requirements of basic needs, then the person is said to be unemployed. In simple terms, that the person does not have a job and does not earn money. Now, how is unemployment caused? Because of overpopulation. When there is overpopulation, the number, see, we were talking about limited resources. So the jobs that is available in the society is also a kind of resource. Yes. So the number of jobs in the society, the number of available jobs in the society or in the country as a whole is limited. But on the other hand, the population is increasing and the number of jobs is not being able to match up with the population. So here unemployment is caused in large scale. So what happens is, you are unemployed, you don't have a job, you are illiterate, you become poor, then you don't have that understanding of family planning, and then you tend to give birth to more number of children, and on the other hand, this leads to overpopulation. So you can see that it's like a sequence, it's like a story. So that is why what happens is we give importance to education. Now when we say education, we are not saying mug up. just to write answers. You have to understand. This chapter, geography as a whole subject, is very, very important, extremely important for you all to understand. Alright. So, now impact of, okay, I'll just go through, before starting underpopulation, I'll just go through underpopulation, I'll just go through overpopulation. Alright. Now what is overpopulation? Overpopulation is the case in which there are more number of people in the society when compared to the resources in that society. Alright. Then we learnt about the causes of overpopulation. One is the birth rate and the death rate. Birth rate is high and death rate is low, which causes overpopulation. Second point, poverty. Alright. So when there is more number of people in the society, jobs are unavailable. So when jobs are unavailable for everybody in the society, then it causes poverty. People will not be able to earn and they will not be able to give themselves and their families a standard method of living. Okay, next one is illiteracy and lack of family planning, which I have already done. Now we are going to start with underpopulation. Now what do you mean by underpopulation? Underpopulation is just the opposite of overpopulation. Now here in the first case, in overpopulation, the resources was less and the population was more. Now just the opposite. Now underpopulation is when there are enough resources to sustain that number of people or more number of people that is present in the society. It is able, the term underpopulation means that the resources that is available in the society can sustain more number of people, more than what is already there in the society. So I'll give you the same example now. Now first example I gave you is there are 15 chairs and tables, but there are 30 students. So here overpopulation. Now just the opposite. There are only 15, okay, same 30 students in the class, but the chairs and tables is 35. So the resources here is more than the population. So the resources available can sustain more than what the population is. Population is 30, but what can the resource sustain? It can sustain 35 students. So did you all understand? Okay, now causes of underpopulation. First is fertility rate. Now the fertility rate in many developed and developing countries has dropped to about 2 children per woman. Now we have reached the modern era. Now the status of women in the society is also changing. Initially in the earlier times, what happened is only the male member in the family used to get educated, because the mentality of people were, why will I send my child, why will I send my girl child to school or daughter to school? Because later on they are going to get married and go to someone else's house. That was the mentality. But now, since women are also being educated, they are also getting into jobs, into regular jobs, and now what happened is they do not have time to look after so many children. And now, so what do? They give birth. Yes, giving birth is continuing. It's not like just because women have started working and they have stopped giving birth. It's not like that. But what has changed is the number of children being born, or the number of children women are giving birth has reduced to just 2 child per woman. Okay, so fertility rate is changing, so it is causing underpopulation. Next is emigration. Now remember in class, whenever I was giving you an example, I taught you a trick to see which is in and which is out. One starts with I, immigration, and the other one is emigration. Now I gave you an example of I and E. For all those who get mixed up with I and E, immigration and emigration, because the pronunciation is same. Now when you say immigration, I for in. Yes, most of you might be saying in. So in means you are going inside a country. That means you are migrating inside a country. And when you look at E, what is E? E is for exit. Alright, so you must be remembering the example I've given you. So E for exit. Exit means to go out or to move out. So here the second point is emigration. Emigration means exiting or going out of the country. Now emigration is the movement of individuals from one country to another with the intention of permanently settling in their destination. So when people are not getting proper jobs, what do is most people in your family or your brothers, your elder brothers, your sisters, your aunt must have migrated to places like Dubai, must have migrated to places like UK and USA in search of jobs. So this emigration reduces the population of a country. Alright, now next one is diseases. Now the best example would be the pandemic that is taking place right now. Many people have died because of this COVID-19 coronavirus, which is the reason why we are taking online classes. Alright, so because of diseases and illness like coronavirus, many deaths of many people occur. Alright, people die in large numbers and the population is reduced. Famine means when there is floods, the crops are destroyed. When there is no water because of dry land, the crops are unable to grow, and what happens is a famine is caused. Now war, the last point, this is the last point that I will be doing for this class. Now war and conflicts. In countries like Iran and Iraq, where there is war going on throughout the year, alright, when there is war going throughout the year, people do not like to live in those type of places. So when people do not like to live, because in that place it is very unsafe to stay, because you are fighting most of the time, you are agitated, you are not allowed to go out, there's no job, there's no food, there's scarcity because no one is selling anything, all the shops are closed, they keep on fighting. So what happens is, because of war and conflict, people tend to move out, they tend to emigrate out of the country. So that is also one reason. Now the example I've given for war and conflict is Syria, Iraq and Iran. Alright, now this is the end of your first class. In the next class, we shall be doing a case study, a comparative study of Canada and Tanzania.